Hello and welcome to Sach the Reality. I'm Rinki Gogoi and you're watching our news bulletin World News, where we bring you the latest developments shaping our world today. Take a look. The United States is planning to send a $1 billion package of military aid to Israel, despite the opposition to a full-scale invasion of Rafah in southern Gaza and concerns about rising civilian deaths. Reportedly, the U.S. Department of State on Tuesday moved the package into the congressional review process. According to U.S. officials, the package, which is yet to be approved, includes $700 million for tank ammunition, $500 million in tactical vehicles, and $60 million in mortar rounds. The approval request for the transfer of lethal weapons comes a week after President Joe Biden paused a single shipment of bombs because of concerns over Israel's offensive in Rafah, in the southernmost tip of Gaza, from where the United Nations says close to 500,000 displaced people have fled. Israeli forces have intensified attacks across Gaza, bombarding a refugee camp in the center of the Strip as tanks push deeper into eastern parts of Rafah city in the south. In the Nuseirat refugee camp in central Gaza, Israeli warplanes struck a home on Tuesday, killing at least 14 Palestinians, including children. The Israeli military ordered more residents to evacuate in parts of the north, where battles between Israeli soldiers and Hamas fighters have resumed in recent days after Israel sent troops back into the area, months after claiming it had defeated Hamas there. Israeli tanks, bulldozers, and armored vehicles surrounded evacuation zones and shelters in the Zabalia refugee camp, the north's largest refugee camp, now largely destroyed. Fierce gun battles were continuing late on Tuesday in the camp. At least 2 people have been killed in the worst unrest in New Caledonia in more than 30 years as rioting continued and schools remained closed after France's adoption of controversial reforms to the Pacific Territories' voting rules. The office of the High Commissioner, France's top representative in New Caledonia, confirmed the 2 killings on Wednesday but gave no details on the circumstances. French President Emmanuel Macron on Wednesday convened a Defense and National Security Council meeting to discuss riots. Macron has cancelled a trip to French region planned for early Wednesday to handle the crisis, and the regular weekly cabinet meeting has been moved to the afternoon, officials said. Despite heavily armed security forces fanning out across the capital, Numa, and the ordering of a nightmare curfew, rioting continued overnight on Tuesday, virtually unabated. Thousands of protesters have taken to the streets in Georgia after Parliament approved a foreign agents bill despite widespread unrest in the country and warnings from the European Union and the United States. The bill requires media and NGOs to register as pursuing the interest of a foreign power if they receive more than 20% of their funding from abroad. It is seen by many as influenced by similar legislation in Russia, which has been used to clamp down on the Kremlin's political opponents and dissent. On Tuesday, politicians voted 84 to 30 in favor during the third and the final reading of the bill. Protesters skirmished with riot police in the streets outside the Parliament building in the center of the capital, Tbilisi, where demonstrations have raged for the last month. Scuffles even broke out inside the chamber as opposition MPs clashed with members of the ruling Georgian Dream Party. President Vladimir Putin has signaled approval of China's plan as a genuine desire to end the war in Ukraine as he travels to Beijing to shore up support from his vital international partner. In an interview with China's Xinhua state news agency published on Wednesday ahead of a 2-day visit to the country to meet President Xi Jinping, Putin raised Beijing's approach, saying that it truly understood the conflict's root causes and its global geopolitical meaning. China's 12-point paper for ending the war received a lukewarm reception when it was made public last year. However, Putin hailed additional measures made public last month as realistic and constructive steps that develop the idea of the necessity to overcome the Cold War mentality. Xi's additional principles set down in talks with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz called for a cooling down of the situation, conditions for restoring peace and creating stability, and minimizing analyzing the effects of the world economy. Putin is scheduled to arrive in Beijing on Thursday, his first trip abroad since March re-election and his second in just over 6 months to China. He will also travel to the northeastern city of Harbin for a trade and investment exposition. And with that, we wind up our World News Bulletin. For more updates, keep watching Sach the Reality.